I would say at first, I loved this shirt. I really, really did. But now reviewing it, I hate this shirt because if you can see, it has all the X-Men from the original animated series except Gambit. How in the hell did they not animate Gambit on the shirt? This is so disrespectful considering the fact that Gambit is not alive in the series anymore. But Gambit should be on the shirt. Get rid of Beast. Beast. Professor Xavier, get rid of him too. Like, no disrespect to Xavier, but let the X-Men, you know, the one that actually go on missions, not the headmaster, be on the shirt. Gambit should be on this shirt, but you know, it is what it is. Let's talk about episode 6, but before we do that, theme song. Episode 6 was a extremely interesting pivot. And I can understand why they went in this direction because episode 5, Jesus.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Today drained me.
So with episode 6, we needed a breather. And they gave us that breather. So it's 2 different plots going on. So I'm going to start with Strom. Now, I'm going to say this. Strom, top 5 favorite X-Men. I love me some Strom. I will say, with this episode and with the overall arc with Strom not having her powers, I feel like it was like a little mishandled. But the gist of the episode, when we last left off with Strom, her and Forge, they were fighting a villain known as the Adversary. His whole origins is surrounded by Forge. Like Forge, he's a Native American, and you know, as he was practicing his Native American heritage and traditions, he learned about the Adversary and different dimension demons or whatever, and it's been a long standing history with the Adversary and Forge in the comics. Right, so in correlation to X-Men 97, the Adversary, it bit Forge on the shoulder and then it flung him across the room, and then it started with Strom mentally, bringing up all of Storm's insecurities, her past fears, her past trauma. You know, Strom is claustrophobic.
Let me out. Let me out!
The Adversary is kind of like playing around with Strom mentally and emotionally. Then Forge, he sums up some ancient Native American magic and sorcery to shoo the Adversary away. However, his condition has gotten worse. So Forge's like, listen, we have to travel to this place to get this mystical flower, and I believe this will heal my shoulder. And so as they're going through all this, you know, you can see Forge and Strom, their relationship is getting stronger and stronger.
You need a better bedside face, Doc.
Tell me where to go.
I don't want to be alone.
Then we ride together, my love.
Clap if you care. All right, let's move on. Perfect.
Strom has forgiven Forge because, as we learned in the previous Life and Death episode, Forge's blueprints is what was used for the government to develop technology to suppress mutant powers. And with Strom, the executioner fired a strong dose of it, and she ended up losing her powers. You know, so Storm's not mad about Forge anymore. She has forgiven him, but she is more concerned about his health and recovery. So they go on this mission to find this mystical plant. So when they get to the place, Strom has to conquer her fears of claustrophobia again because the plant is within a cave, and the cave is like really narrow and really shallow. As she is approaching to receive the plant, the Adversary appears again, and he's with Strom again, and then she realizes like the Adversary is literally my own inner demons. It's me battling with my own insecurities, my own regrets, my own emotions. And once she realizes it, it's like the mental block that was causing her to not fully access her powers, it eliminated itself.
No, you demon. So let them thunder, for I am lightning.
So Storm, she called on the lightning, she called on the wind. You know, we see Storm get her powers back again as she defeats the adversary. And as she is doing so, we see Storm transform into this beautiful all black sexy outfit. This outfit is a callback to how Storm first appeared in the comics. Okay, this was Storm's original outfit. And let me tell you something. Storm saw those thirsty ass tweets that y'all had from Madeline. You know, y'all was clapping over her long hair and her Goblin Queen outfit where her boobs push up and everything. And she was just like, oh no. Oh no. What y'all think this is? I'm the queen of the X-Men and I'm finna show you mother what's up. Storm, she looks amazing. The mohawk is finally gone. Thank God. I don't want to see Storm in a mohawk ever again. So at the end of the episode, Storm uses the mystical plant to help heal Forge's shoulder, and they are back rekindling their romance. And then next thing you know, Forge turns on the television, and him and Storm, they receive the news of what went down in Genosha.
Attack on Genosha to return to their home countries. This, as rumors swirl, that Genosha is the opening salvo in the long...
And Storm is visibly upset because she did not know any of this was going on and that mutants were being slaughtered to the death in the island of Genosha. All right, now here's the thing. Again, love me some Storm. She looks absolutely amazing. I'm glad she got her powers back. I'm glad the mohawk is gone. I'm glad she is in a nice ass outfit. I am ready for Storm to rejoin the X-Men because we need the firepower. With this whole life and death Storm story, my criticism is I wish they would have showed Storm living a normal life, you know, reading the newspaper, going out shopping, going to the park, you know, just living life as a regular human being. Because as she was gaining her powers back for the adversary, you know, he was throwing that in her face, saying like, oh, you always wanted to be human, and that's what you told Jean.
As you said to Jean, I have wondered what it would be like to be human. It is a tempting daydream. I was so tired.
I feel like they should have demonstrated that more because this was just an episode for Storm to regain her powers, let's be clear, but it just felt unearned. It felt just rushed, and it kind of felt a little bit incomplete. Again, if they just would have showed Storm living a regular life, no responsibilities, not playing hero. And then we would have saw certain situations where, I don't know, somebody tried to rob a bank, or somebody's trying to bully an old woman, or somebody's trying to commit any type of crime, and Storm attempting to intervene, but she's intervening without her powers. And so she's handling the situation different because, you know, she's not a superhero anymore. So if they would have showed that, and then introduce the concept of Forge, instead of introducing the adversary or instead of introducing any villain, all we needed to see was Storm witnessing what's going on in Genosha, you know, witnessing mutants being slaughtered left and right. And with Storm witnessing all of this on the news, that would have caused her to regain her powers, you know, the passion that she has for fighting for mutants and fighting for survival and fighting for her own mutant community. I really wish they would have went in that type of direction because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, the whole adversary villain, that mother is creepy. It was kind of weird just to be watching it.
Family, I didn't follow. I was wrong. Forge didn't rob you of gifts. You had already renounced them.
Disgusting black creatures. Get out of my sight.
It just could have been executed a little bit better. But all in all, Storm got her powers back. She got a new costume and the mohawk is gone. So I have no complaints. Let's move on to Professor Xavier.
And our empire shall welcome a new emperor, Professor Charles Xavier.
So we opened up the episode. Death Bird, she is leading the charge against the Kree. She is fighting Ronan, and she overpowers the Kree. She and the Imperial Guard, they take over the station. And she is interrogating him, asking, where is the Supreme Intelligence? The Supreme Intelligence is pretty much the ruler of the Kree Empire. The mindset of the Shi'ar as they are battling Ronan, battling the Kree, and if they can get to him, any resources that the Kree have, they can add it on to the Shi'ar Empire and become one of the ruling communities of the galaxy. We see Deathbird, we see the whole Imperial Guard, we see Gladiator. As Deathbird is interrogating Ronan, we see Vulcan. And I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all cannot just stick this cameo of Vulcan in this series. Vulcan is the third brother of Scott Summers and Alex Summers. And this motherfucker is extremely powerful, and this motherfucker is violent. So when they showed him, I was like, oh, where are we going with the storyline? Because Vulcan, that is a true villain, okay? That is a true X-Men villain. But they just showed it as a cameo.
You suck!
So then we transition over to Lilandra and Charles, and as I said earlier, this is when they discuss that Charles hasn't been on Earth in like 1 or 2 years. He hasn't contacted the X-Men at all, so nobody on Earth knows that Charles is alive. Nobody on Earth knows that Charles is doing well. He has had zero communication. And Lilandra, she wants Charles to stay with her. Like, Charles wants to visit Earth. All he wants to do is visit. And Lilandra's like, no, I need you here.
You wish to return to your children, don't you?
Merely visit. See their faces.
You've earned a life of your own, Charles, and I need you. Do you love me, Charles?
A silly question.
Why not let go?
My thing is, Lilandra, why are you so hasty? Like, why do you want Charles to stay with you on the Shi'ar space? Like, let this man visit Earth. Like, what's the problem? I have a theory. I think Lilandra is pregnant. I think Lilandra and Charles, they've been living life, having wild, passionate love and sex. So I think that Lilandra is pregnant. I think she is in the early stage of pregnancy, so she doesn't really want to let Charles know yet until she gets to the first trimester, because she is really, really, really advocating for Charles to stay with her. And it's like, girl, why? For what? Lilandra, she's pregnant.
He's getting by people so much easier.
With Lilandra announcing that her and Charles are getting married, this is causing all sorts of red flags, because basically the people of the Shi'ar Empire, they're just like, listen, this man is a human. So you trying to bring a non-human to rule over a galaxy full of Shi'ar aliens. How does that work? Like, this is just really non-traditional. And I'm gonna have to be honest, I kind of agree, especially with Deathbird, because Deathbird called it out.
Xavier would see his Milkyway Ghetto become our new throne world.
And she was right, but that bitch didn't need to say that cruel shit.
Like, what you mean? Milky Way Ghetto. Okay, you think Earthlings are ghetto. I mean, we are. Earth is ghetto, specifically the United States. Ghetto, but you have to say it like that, Deathbird. But yeah, I kind of agree with Deathbird, because Lilandra, you are so in love, and you are using love to cloud your judgment, because you want this man to serve on the Empire with you, alongside you, and it's just like, he is not Shi'ar. So how do you want the people of Shi'ar to respect and honor somebody that is not Shi'ar ruling over them? That doesn't make any sense. So I can understand why Deathbird took the opportunity to call this out, because it's like, girl, what are you doing? Stop thinking with your Next thing you know, the fan, Lilandra and Deathbird, they start fighting. And when I tell you, Gladiator intervened and he knocked the out of Deathbird. Like, he knocked that girl into a wall. And I was just like, damn.
There we go.
Like, Gladiator, let it be known, his hands are rated E for everyone. So then Charles, he uses his telepathy to intervene, and he's pretty much saying, like, listen, y'all, All this in-house fighting is so unnecessary. Y'all are attempting to overtake the galaxy by exploiting everybody else's resources and just being violent and thinking you can fight your way to the top, and that is not the way. So he's telling the Shi'ar, like, y'all need to change your ways, pretty much convincing them, like, look, if I do get married to Lilandra, this is what I'm offering. And, you know, the conversation is going well, but then next thing you know, Charles receives a vision.
Heavens, no! Gambit?
I believe that he is sensing that Gambit is dead. And something extremely terrible has happened on the planet Earth, and it shakes him to the core to the point where he's like, oh no, I need to get the fuck up out of here.
I must return to Earth immediately.
But we've nearly convinced the council.
It doesn't matter. While I cowered in the cosmos, the unthinkable has happened.
Xavier, he makes up his mind. He's like, listen, Lilandra, I love you, but I have got to get back to my people because something went down and I'm needed there. I love that they introduced the space factor of the X-Men to X-Men 97. Again, I was a little underwhelmed with the Strom storyline, but it is what it is. I have not been disappointed thus far, so, you know, X-Men 97, I can't wait until the next episode.